At the borough's request, we as the borough's redevelopment council recently conducted an investigation to determine whether or not Council President Fife has a conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest with the Post Office Plaza redevelopment project. The inquiry centered on whether or not Council President Fife and her husband, both of whom are realtors, had a potential conflict of interest due to their involvement in the sale of Cottage Deli for Vertical Realty. Key case law provides that it's not whether there is an actual conflict of interest that is the decisive factor, nor is it whether the public official succumbs to the temptation, but rather it is whether there is a potential for conflict. The conflicting interest arises when a public official has an interest not shared in common with other members of the public. Again, I note that the critical factor here is whether there is a potential for conflict, and our conclusions here are based on that standard. That is whether there is a potential for conflict. Based on this standard, it has been determined that Council President Fife does have a potential conflict of interest and should have recused herself from all actions taken with respect to the Post Office Plaza redevelopment project. The most salient facts that lead to this conclusion are the following. At some point during 2016, after being introduced by Councilwoman Fife and or her husband, Vertical Realty began negotiations to purchase the Cottage Deli. As realtors, Council President Fife, her husband, or Town and Country Properties might have a claim for a commission on the sale. On September 16, 2016, Vertical's principal, Jake Feldman, sent a letter to Robert Falzerano, the borough's business administrator at the time. The letter indicated that while Vertical had interest in redeveloping the property, approximately 200 residential apartments, and supporting retail uses, the deli was unwilling to condition the sale upon governmental approvals. Vertical was still interested in taking the substantial risk of paying in excess of the value of the deli without contingencies, provided it had a level of comfort from the governing body. On or about January 23, 2017, the Council adopted Resolution number 17-093, resolution authorizing the Planning Board of the Borough of Chatham to undertake preliminary investigation to determine if certain real property within the Borough of Chatham are areas in need of redevelopment. The deli property was one of the properties included in the resolution. That resolution was unanimously adopted. On January 27, 2017, 4 days after the Council's first action on the redevelopment, the deli owner and Vertical entered into a non-contingent purchase and sale agreement for the deli property. These facts raise the potential for a conflict of interest. Also, under case law, a potential for a conflict of interest necessitates invalidating every redevelopment action that was taken by the local government during the period of time in which the potential for a conflict of interest existed. Based on this standard, together with the potential for a conflict of interest, we recommend that Council President Fife recuse herself from all actions taken on this particular project, going forward as well as the actions in the past. Further, as a result of the study, Mayor Bruce Harris became aware for the first time that the firm with which his partner has placed his real estate license was involved in some capacity with the sale of Cottage Deli. His partner, however, was not directly involved in the transaction between Vertical and the deli, and there is no evidence to suggest that he would stand to gain any material or financial benefit to any greater extent than any gain could reasonably be expected to accrue to any other member of such business. Mayor Harris may not have a disqualifying conflict with respect to this redevelopment project. However, out of an abundance of caution, we have recommended that Mayor Harris recuse himself from future proceedings on the project. The top priority of the Mayor and Council has been to preserve the highest standards of transparency and ethics. It is with that priority in mind that we recommend that the Council rescind all prior actions on the Post Office Plaza redevelopment project and revote on all related resolutions without the